When most of us picture the world of Jane Austen, we imagine a pristine, soft-focus fantasy of polite ballroom dances, empire waist dresses, and swooning romance. But that delicate facade hides a much sharper reality. As an author, Jane Austen was an exacting social auditor who applied the logic of strategic thinking and choice decades before the formalization of game theory. Her characters navigate a brutal, practical landscape. They have to figure out how to survive and secure a future as individuals with zero systemic power, trapped inside a rigidly constrained, highly transactional patriarchy. Her 6 completed novels endure because they operate as strategic manuals for navigating a world where the rules are rigged against the player. Survival begins with narrative perspective. Austen refined a literary technique known as free indirect discourse to essentially hack her characters' social environments. Here, the objective narrator seamlessly merges with a character's biased internal thoughts, removing reporting clauses. This forces readers into a loop of recursive mind reading. In Persuasion, Anne observes a man's gestures, perceiving his awareness of those gestures and his consciousness of her watching. In an era where 18th century readers were increasingly distracted by an influx of cheap, simplistic print fiction, this prose acted as a cognitive countermeasure. By forcing the brain to track multiple conflicting mental states without overt exposition, Austen's texts actively exercised the reader's focus. These novels function as cognitive training grounds, building the mental agility required to read complex human behavior and practice strategic empathy in the real world. This mental agility was applied to a very specific set of stakes. For women in the Regency era who lacked independent wealth or property rights, a good match was a ruthless necessity for physical survival. Her characters engage in strict mathematical vetting. When sizing up a suitor's estate, they calculate specific annual yields, like Mr. Darcy's £10,000, because that single number dictates their lifelong security. Today, rising income inequality and housing crises have revived this brand of financial pragmatism. Modern romantic suitability is increasingly evaluated alongside property ownership and generational wealth. This chart compares historical wealth concentration with the modern rise of assortive mating, pairing high-earning professionals with other high earners. This data suggests modern dual-income couples recreate the transactional vetting found in Austen's novels. Austen practiced what scholars call an anti-romantic art of happiness. She insisted that maintaining agency requires accepting the pragmatic economic realities of a constrained marketplace over pure poetic idealism. Even within those constraints, the players can find leverage by weaponizing the deliberate ignorance of those in power. Game theory identifies a concept called empathy prevention, where high-status individuals deliberately refuse to read the minds of their social inferiors to preserve a sense of distance and hierarchy. This arrogance creates a decisive strategic vulnerability. When characters like Lady Catherine de Bourgh refuse to engage in perspective-taking, they cannot anticipate the intellect or resilience of those they deem beneath them. Marginalized individuals can exploit this. By training their superior empathy, they can accurately predict and completely outmaneuver their strategically blind oppressors. We see this clearly when Lady Catherine attempts to bully Elizabeth Bennet out of marrying Darcy. Her inability to imagine Elizabeth's resolve leads her to inadvertently provide the very information Elizabeth needs to secure her future. The elite's blindness becomes a tool for the marginalized to navigate toward a win. Because class friction, financial anxiety, and patriarchal constraints are universal human experiences, Austen's game translates effectively across diverse global cultures. Her work saw a massive surge of European translations during the instability of World War II, and later, Chinese scholars embraced her keen depictions of class warfare through the lens of social realism. In South Asia, the resonance is even more palpable. Bollywood adaptations successfully map her themes of dowry systems, family reputation, and the high stakes of the marriage market onto modern subcontinental societies. Today, modern fans and post-colonial authors use her texts to champion intersectionality and female liberation. Writers from formerly colonized nations now use Austen's framework to dissect both local patriarchal traditions and the lingering shadows of British imperialism. Austen prioritized a realistic ethical blueprint for maintaining intellectual independence within a ruthless social matrix, offering self-knowledge and moral constancy as the only sustainable paths to fulfillment. She remains essential because her work provides the decryption key for the social and economic codes we are still trying to break today.